Welcome to the Conflict Zone, a channel dedicated to informing about major conflict points around the world.
In this video, we'll be discussing about the recent triple violation of Japanese airspace by a Russian aircraft and try to understand why Putin is ramping up his provocations against Japan.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest news.
On September 23rd, a Russian Il-38 patrol plane crossed into Japan's airspace not once, but 3 times in a row. The location? The northern coast of Hokkaido, near the remote island of Ribun. What makes this violation even more alarming is that it came just a day after a joint Russian and Chinese naval fleet passed through waters near Japan. In response, Japan swiftly deployed F-15 and F-35 fighters to intercept the Russian plane. But strangely, the Russian crew remained silent. With no response, the Japanese jets fired flares, forcing the aircraft to change its course and leave. But this incident is just the tip of the iceberg. It's part of a long series of increasingly bold actions from Vladimir Putin. But why now? To understand what's happening, we need to look back. Japan and Russia have never really had friendly relations, and it all started in 1904 with a brutal war. At that time, Japan had just emerged from centuries of isolation and was expanding rapidly. This brought them into conflict with the massive Russian Empire. In a surprising turn of events, tiny Japan defeated the giant Russia, winning decisive victories like the naval battle of Tsushima in 1905. This humiliating defeat left deep scars on Russia's elite, but the story didn't end there. Decades later, in 1939, Soviet and Japanese forces clashed again, this time in Manchuria, during the battles of Khalkhin Gol. The Soviets were much better prepared, and the Japanese suffered a crushing defeat. This loss played a key role in Japan's decision to attack Pearl Harbor in 1941, shaping the course of World War II. Throughout most of World War II, Stalin avoided opening a second front in the east. It wasn't until August 8, 1945, 2 days after the US dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, that the Soviets declared war on Japan. In just 3 weeks, they seized the southern half of Sakhalin Island and the Kuril Islands, a chain stretching between Russia and Japan. When Japan surrendered in September 1945, the fate of these islands was left unresolved. Although they had belonged to Japan since the 19th century, the Soviet Union took control, and the dispute over the Kurils has simmered ever since. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the tensions are still there. In 1956, the formal state of war between Japan and the Soviet Union ended, but no peace treaty was signed. The Kuril Islands remained a point of contention. When Putin took power in 2000, it seemed like there was a chance for dialogue, as the Kremlin indicated a willingness to negotiate. But those negotiations dragged on, frustrating Japan. Then in 2022, everything changed. Dmitry Medvedev, Russia's former president, openly admitted that Russia had never seriously intended to negotiate the Kuril Islands. This was the breaking point. Japan's relationship with Russia completely deteriorated, especially after Japan imposed tough sanctions on Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. Now Russia views Japan as a hostile nation, and tensions are at an all-time high. And that brings us to today, where Russia, alongside China, continues to conduct military drills and displays of power near Japan. Putin's message is clear. He won't back down. Each move seems calculated to push Japan further into a corner, heightening the stakes in the region. So the big question is, what happens next? Will these provocations continue, or is something even more serious on the horizon? The future of this already unstable region hangs in the balance. Stay tuned to find out what might come next.
If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest news. See you in the next video.